Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right. Hey guys, welcome back to our show. I'm your host, John Harcar, and I'm here today with Matthew Weaver. And what we're going to talk about is his real estate journey and, really, the fundamentals of how he treats sellers, buyers, investors, etc. Remember, guys, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, all real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their business. We do that by providing tools and resources not only to grow the business they've always wanted, but it in turn helps them live the life they want to live. So, Matthew, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about your journey. From your bio, I'm sure this is very filled with some great information. But before we kind of get into some things, why don't you tell us about your background? Kind of what got you into real estate, what got you here?
So my background is educational. It's finance and customer service, which I use enormous amounts of those in this business. As we know, it's all about relationships. Very first project back in the day was a 38-room historic hotel.
Oh, wow.
157 years old at the time. Rebuilt it. It was run by some beautiful, lovely people, but ran it like a country club. And we went in there and turned it around, and the finances are the finances, customer service, rebuilt 38 rooms in a building that's 155 years old. Give you an idea, engineering was, if you wanted 2 stories, you did 4 red bricks wide, not 2. That was the engineering right in the gold country.
Oh, wow.
The Hillbrook Hotel, you can still see it online. It's a gorgeous place. And then had other businesses that were not related to real estate that had gone south, business partners not doing so well. And I headed overseas. I went to Saudi Arabia. I'd been there in 91, 94, and ended up working for the largest company in the world, Saudi Aramco. And that was a crucible of perfecting finance, operations. They don't do anything without a system.
Yep.
And they do it well. It was designed by the 5 sister oil companies, 100 years ago. So went to the Middle East. I was part of the team that took Saudi Aramco public. So doing a largest IPO that'll never be matched. And all that was just the finance and the systems. And had been around real estate, but hadn't, in 2008 crash, there wasn't all the information and the availability online like we have now.
Yeah.
You can just fall into it. You still got to know what you're doing. You still have to have a talent. You still have to study. You still have to do a lot of things. It's not as easy as some on the internet might want you to think. But there definitely wasn't any of that in 2008. Still, the big boys were playing in the business.
Right.
So fast forward up to COVID, and our kids were going to school in the U.S. and we're in the Middle East. When we could travel when we wanted, it was no big deal. But the moment COVID shut everything down, all the borders were shut down. In the summer, my wife had to go out on an embassy flight so that she could be with the kids for the summer.
Wow.
And that was a one-way ticket until they figured out when they were going to open them up. So I finally went out in October, hadn't seen my kids in about 10, 11 months, and said, okay, time to change.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And I started argentrealestate.com and started with doing driving for dollars. And in the process, it's kind of funny how it all came together. I flew out during the week while my kids were in school. They were going to boarding school, and to see my mom in Arizona from Indiana. And I sat next to this young lady in college, and she ended up being my first driver. My second driver was her father, who's about 70 years old and a beast. The man's incredible. Both of them are. He found my first property, which I bought while I was still in Saudi Arabia, in Indiana. And that was the beginning of it. And then by the middle, there was other things that just kind of kept pushing the edge. Like my son and I got locked out during Christmas and couldn't get home. And then at spring break, the 14-day quarantine, all these things, I finally said, you know what, sweetheart, I've had enough. We're going home. Go home, find us a house. I came home and I already started the driving for dollars and working on that, but it was time to just come back to the United States. And it launched from there.
Okay. Let's go back a little bit. So you were in Saudi Arabia when you got this 38-door historic building?
Yeah, that was before I went to Saudi Arabia.
Before, okay.
Done before, correct. Yeah.
What? And I like to ask this from folks because I like to really get an idea. What influence, was there anybody in your life, anybody that, did real estate? I mean, first and foremost, to jump to a 38-door historic hotel is just not the norm that most people do when they get into real estate. So I'll talk about that. But was there any influences in your life that kind of planted a seed for real estate for you?
So I had another business in town with a relative, and this one came up very quietly in a smaller town. And my wife is British, and she worked for Intercontinental Hotel her entire career around the world, England, Luxembourg, Brussels, and Dubai. And the Middle East connection is where, when we met, kind of brought us together, and we eventually obviously got married. So the team was my wife running the hotel and knowing ADR and how to run a hotel and me running finance.
Okay.
And it was a perfect team, and we were very successful at it. I remember the banker and getting the loans and the investors, and they're like, "You're going to take food and beverage to $1.7 million in 24 months?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I walked in with the statement in the second year, put it on his desk, said 1.795. There you go. So
sweet.
All right, there you go. And that was to her credit. We were a team. I mean, I have all the finance. I brought the investors together, and have my own, customer service aspect. But my wife had all the operational side, and we had a great team. They learned. The same people were there. They just had to be taught how to really run a hotel.
How to run it the right way.
Everyone cared, and that made all the difference. Like anything, if you care about it, you're going to do it well.
Yeah. So when you did this, when you got this property, and how did you find it again?
It was in the town that I lived in, had another business, and became known that they were selling.
Did you, you obviously hired out all the renovation and all that stuff. I mean, how did you, or how did you know how to do that, or where to find these people to do that?
Operationally, was my wife. Construction wise, I had a lot of customers and friends in that business. So, it had 38 old original clawfoot tubs that had to be completely refinished.
Wow.
And through a connection from a general contractor that did really high-end houses, he's like, "There's the guy that'll work for you and can get the job done." The guy did a fabulous job.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
The general contractor is a good friend of mine, still is, and did all that work. When I needed to go, because it's a historic site in California. And so you need certain approvals, which you need a lot of when you're in a historic building and everybody's got their eyes on it. It's the focal point of the whole town.
Right.
You got to know how to deal with relationships and have them all ready, or find out someone who does, and getting the fire department to help us with how do we keep the image and refine it and rebuild it, which we did successfully.
That's awesome. So then you go to Dubai, and then while you're in Dubai, you start what do you say it was? Argent Real Estate. Argent Real Estate.
For silver.
Argent Real Estate. And this is you're doing driving for dollars?
I started that way.
Right.
And I was in Saudi. The Dubai was, my wife was there prior to us meeting. So we were in Saudi Arabia, and I had drivers and had used, Deal Machine very successfully. And they have a lot of good systems, and and then it was using the driver's information, developing through a very good property manager that I got to know, again through I need an agent. And you just start meeting people online. I've been part of Bigger Pockets. I think I've watched, I don't know how many double digits of their videos. I mean, and that education just kept continuing, right? When I finally moved home, I'm like, okay, I really need to download now. And I read 12 books in the first year. And it's not that difficult. I'm not a reader. How'd I do it? 10 pages every morning.
About 10 pages a day. That's what I do. 10 pages a day.
I'm up at 4:30, 4 o'clock. I have been for so long, I can't remember. And start the day that way. And I got through all those books. And I'm like, okay, there's a body of knowledge right there. Now go execute even better.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now with these drivers, how were you paying them? For finding your properties, were you paying like a commission or something like that?
Yeah, so they got their hourly. Had contracts that actually came from Deal Machine that set up. So we had proper contracts, had all the proper paperwork, something I learned from my prior days of unsuccessful operations with a partner, made sure that paperwork's in line, and then would give them a commission based on, didn't matter how I transacted it, whether it was buy and hold or a flip, which I've never really done much of as much. It's more buy and hold and get the investors and hold on to the asset. Yeah. And they'd get a commission for finding it when I closed the deal.
Awesome. Now, are they like, you're obviously talking to the homeowner and you're doing the negotiation and you're doing all that. Are they going and like taking pictures of the house for you, getting wet signatures, all those type of things?
Initially, it was the driver. And then I migrated to finding an inspector that would do that work, or a contractor that would go in, and just expanding to other people that's what they did, right? I mean, they made sure that DocuSign's a beautiful thing, or something like it, right?
For sure.
And being that trustworthy, that contractor that could go in and say, get the pictures, what do we need to do? Here's the value, and working way backwards in the underwriting, kind of thing. So
what were some of the challenges of running a business from Saudi Arabia here? Right? Obviously, besides the time, what other challenges did you have?
It's deciding that you've got to trust people, and you've got to research who you're going to find to do the work. I mean, you can't just take the first person. You got to talk to people, use the contacts within portals that, like your organization, you help people build up and grow their business.
Right.
You got to keep those contacts. None of us are an island. Nobody knows it all. They're the first one to fail. And you start asking questions, and won't say that the first people worked very well sometimes, right? You think you found a good one, that doesn't work, and you got to find someone else.
Right.
But when you
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
you eventually find that right set of people and group of people that you can do it successfully.
100%. So what does your business look like now? I mean, how many doors do you have? If you still have doors, are you still doing the D4D stuff? What does it look like?
So I moved off D4D and doing a lot of searching on my own using PropStream and mailers and so forth. I use wholesalers as well. That's really successful. I've got a good reputation with them. They know I'm going to close. Once it's a deal, I'm not going to retrade, kind of thing. And so they know I do my due diligence.
Okay.
And once moved home, I went through a few contractors because I had done more work in the Culver area and then went to South Bend, Indiana, and now South Bend and Indianapolis is where I focus, as well as Ohio.
I got a property for you.
So, pardon me?
Said I got a property for you.
Exactly. We'll talk later. And so the contractor I use now, who is extremely reliable and does most of my places, I found because I had bought a house that had red oak floors. And all these houses, 1910, as you know, in Mishawaka, 1910, 1890.
Right.
And they have great stories, right? I like the older stuff because it's got stories.
Yeah.
And so I walked in, and underneath the hoarding mess, which you could barely see the floor, but when I cleared it away, was red oak. Red oak frames around the windows, red oak frames around the doors, red oak doors. And this little house of 1,000 feet had $25,000 worth of red oak in it. So
Incredible.
to save that, called some flooring companies, settled on one. The guy came out, gave me an estimate for refinishing, got the house all settled, got moving along on the rest of the construction, called him back, and a different guy answers. And his name's Edward instead of Steve. And so I'm like, okay, it's not a small company. Okay. And Ed comes out, and we meet Ed, and he's like, all right, we'll get the floors done here, and here's the price stays the same. Had a few changes. He was really good to work with. One of the spots wasn't done to my liking. He had it handled. And then my contractor fell apart at the very end, last few bits. And he says, well, I do construction as well. So he finished that up for me. We moved to the next house. His bids are good. And we developed a relationship, which to me
That's
is
awesome. Yeah. How important is it to you, or how important do you think it is for someone to go out and really find that good relationship, right? When you're working with, especially these trades guys and the contractors and all that.
Yeah, we all know this business and anything you do in life, it's about the relationships and sticking to what you do. I shake your hand, it's as good as gold. There's no other way to do it successfully.
Right.
You have to realize that when you bid, these guys, yes, they bid, but if you want them to come all the time, sometimes I pay. I had an electrical contractor. I knew he was more expensive, but I wanted to know what he saw that maybe I missed. It was a pretty extensive bit of work on a fourplex I just finished.
Right.
And I paid him for it. I paid him for that estimate. He didn't expect it, but I'm like, you spent a lot of time giving me a lot of information. In the end, your numbers just don't work, and I get it. You'd done other work that did work for me, but this one, for whatever reason, he priced it the way he did. So I'm like, I appreciate you taking the time, building that estimate, not being successful, and here you go. And that guy, when I call, will he come back? And what was it, $100? Not talking $1,000, but it covered his time and his gas to come out and do what I needed to have done. And people don't realize that. Oh, they should do them. That's their job. Their job is to run jobs successfully and make money.
Exactly.
are you really helping them? And it's a relationship, not this hierarchical, hey, dictatorial situation. Some people don't realize that.
So what does your team look like now? Is it just yourself and your wife still, or what does that all look like?
So the team is my wife and myself. I have brokers, agents in three different cities, and here in South Bend, Culver, and in South Bend. I have contractors in both. Actually, Culver because it's close, as you know, to South Bend. So I have another one that he does some heavy duty work. When I had a failure on a basement wall, as you know, from a lot of heavy rain,
Yeah.
he got in there and did the concrete work and this rebar work. That's his kind of thing. And so in every city, I've got a complete team. I have an absolute stud of a property manager in South Bend, invaluable, because I don't want to do that job.
Yeah.
That's the job. That's where I stop. I'll do the acquisition. I do the material purchase because a contractor that's not swinging hammers is not making me any money and
Yep.
not making himself any money. So we do all the acquisition of the materials and I get it delivered. He just has to be there with his crew. I have to be dependable to have it there on time. And so I have every aspect of the team in all three cities. And they make sure that it's getting rented out right, or I'm finding the right deal, or if I'm
Perfect.
gonna earn it. And that's taken time. I mean, when it was all me and that very first deal, and I'm still in Saudi Arabia, yes, I had eyes on the ground, but I went through a couple of those as well.
Hmm.
And solid teams, the acquisition is much more predictable.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
Yeah. 100%. So you're in the three markets. How many total doors do you have?
we have 14 doors. I just finished up a fourplex that rented out in very quick time in South Bend.
Awesome.
And I turned a couple, regrettably. The very first deal, I ended up wholetailing that out, and I've regretted that. I tell that story every time. I'm like, should have never done it. It was in the Flanner neighborhoods of Indianapolis, which had a lot of great history. But I did what I did, and so, I've had a few more, but nothing gets turned unless it's what the intent was to flip, which is mostly buy and hold right now, is what I do.
Got it. Where do you see your business going in the next 18 months?
So migrating a bit to that mid-range not a bit, to mid-range multifamily, so 5
Okay.
to 50. You've got these guys out there that are very good at the hundreds and the 200s and the 300s. There's a lot of big players in that.
Yep.
And I don't want myself and my investors to be the small player in a deal. We want to be the larger player and have a larger control.
Have more control of
So
it. Yeah.
you stay out of the vision of the Black Rocks and all those big boys on the 200s and 300s.
Hmm.
5 to 50 is smaller owners. You can find that tired
Tired
owner
landlord.
that says, I really want to move on,
Yep.
and the relationship is even more important. You get out there and meet them. The first time I talk to them, it's not about buying. It's about how did you do what you did, and how
Hmm.
can I learn from you? I'll buy you a cup of coffee, lunch, whatever it may be. And in real estate, we want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So learn from them, and then deals start coming. And there's other angles. You've got potentially owner finance and that type of thing. And so when my investors come in, we are just a few on a deal that's going to cash flow really well from day one. Does it need to be something that's dead in the water for months on end? Um, and and there's a lot of them out there that are ready to be bought and turned.
Hmm. Especially with the silver tsunami, right? So much of it getting up there in age, and these are the guys that own these.
Right? Exactly.
Um,
And they want to know somebody that's going to take care of it. Even if they've let it run down a bit, that's been their baby.
yeah.
My mom had her own business, and when she sold it, and I remember that always. My mom's, in her 90s now. You could have more easily removed her right arm than selling it, but she knew it was time to move on. And these owners are the same way. And when I respect that, and you go in and say, "Hey, I know what you're going through, but I'm going to make it even better," and you're going to be proud to say, "I sold to that person."
Right. Exactly. And that's awesome. So let's say someone's wanting to get into the buy and hold or get into real estate. What type of advice would you give them in nowadays, resources or whatever to set them up for success?
education, number one. Going in half knowledgeable with any type of half measure. If you're going to lose money and everybody's nervous about pulling the trigger, then don't pull the trigger without having a lot of knowledge. There are so many resources out there. I'm a book guy, and so every morning there's a book sitting there, and I still do it now on something. Hey, I need to understand something new about X. And so knowledge, number one, get that knowledge base. It doesn't take as long as you think. And if you stick to it, as you said, 10 pages a day, the discipline's there.
Yep.
From there, in the meantime, as you're doing that, go to the meetups. And how many times have we heard this, but how many people don't follow? It's taking the action. Go to the meetups, meet someone, meet just one person and focus on them. You want to be the most interesting person in the room? Ask questions of the person across from you and stay quiet.
Yep.
They'll go, man, that guy is so cool. That lady is really cool. And so let them talk, learn from them, focus on one person. You don't have to meet 20 people. You don't want to look like you're bouncing around the room.
It's not speed dating.
Yeah, exactly. It's not speed dating, right? And then get to know the people and the markets you want to be in, understand the market, and understand that markets are microcosms. I listen to some of these to people on YouTube and their portals, and they're saying, like in the case of Phoenix, the west side of Phoenix has got a glut. You can find 2 months rent free. You go to Tempe, Scottsdale, Glendale, they're not.
Nope.
The markets are super strong. It's all the same valley, but you have to know where you are. You have to understand it. You have to drive it. I put a lot of miles just driving neighborhoods up and down one to the other and understanding the neighborhood and doing the research, from different GIS to different websites. I check what the crime is like.
Yeah.
Put in interest. Tell me what's around it. If it's not safe, I'm not putting a family in there, and they don't want to be there. Move on.
100%.
Figure out where it is. Write it down. I have my list that sticks to this day. On a sheet of paper. Bam, bam, bam. There's my checklist of what I look at, and make sure I don't skip one. Find it, do it, and execute it, but get yourself educated.
Awesome. If folks are listening to this and they might want to, reach out to you and talk to you about kind of your journey or ask questions, or maybe they have a deal and, they're wholesaler and they have a deal in Indiana or South Bend or something like that, how do they get in touch with you?
So my email is mattw@argentrealestate.com. That's all one word. So mattw@argentrealestate.com. And I have a website, argentrealestate.com as well. And then my phone number is 574-575-3374 for my direct line. I use different numbers for mailers and that type of thing. But for someone that wants to be an investor, that wants to get into the business, call me directly. I'm happy to help.
Cool. Awesome. And we'll put all that information in the show notes. Matt, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing all that information. Some great stuff. Folks that are out there listening, I hope you guys, took a lot of good information, took a lot of notes. If you have any properties in Indiana or you want to reach out to Matt, please, like I said, we'll put that information in the show notes again.
Absolutely.
Matt, thank you again for coming on. And guys, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.